Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishikam Vitam Scha Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyanajana Shilakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhistam Supurakam Gurganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shri Rupa Bhattanugam Govindam Vidam Ujwalam Bharatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Vande Vishwaguruncha Divyat Bhagavat Prem Noe Bija Pranam Devam Divyatanum Suchandavananam Balarka Shelanchitam Sandrananda Puram Sadekavaranam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Varam Vandetam Shubharam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishvara Shridaram Vanshakopatarubyasya Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavenebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Nama. We're here today with Srila Bhakti Ashram Maharaj. Is it possible to turn the camera just for a minute to show Ashram Maharaj? Sorry to defeat all your calculations, but can you see him good? Jai Srila Bhakti Ashram Maharaj Ki Jai. Okay. 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 So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupad, and this is Madhya-lila, chapter 16, the Lord's attempt to go to Vrindaban. I'll start with verse number 47. Emanta Bhaktagan Rohila Charimas Prabhur Sahita Kore Kirtana Vilas. For 4 continuous months, all the devotees remained there in Jagannath Puri and enjoyed chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purvavat Rata Yatra Kala Jabyaila Sabloya Gundicha Mandir Prakash Prakshalila. As in the previous year, they all washed the Gundicha temple when the time for Ratha Yatra arrived. Kulina Grami Pata Dori Jagannatha Dila Purvavat Rata Agre Nartana Korila. The inhabitants of Kuliagram delivered silken ropes to Lord Jagannath, and as previously, they all danced before the Lord's car. So Mahaprabhu asked the residents of Kalinagram to make stronger silken ropes so that they wouldn't break when they're moving the deity of Jagannath. They wrap ropes around the deity to be able to lift Jagannath off the ground. But those ropes would break previously, and Mahaprabhu said to the devotees of Kalinagram, you make better ropes and bring them every year. Bahonritya kore puna chalila ujjane vapi tire tahanjai korela vishrame. After dancing a great deal, they all went to a nearby garden and took rest beside a lake. Radhi ek viprateho nityananda das mahabhagyavan teho nama Krishnadas. A Brahmin named Krishnadas, who was a resident of Radha Desh and a servant of Lord Nityananda's, was a very fortunate person. So Radhadesh, I believe, is on the western side of the Ganga. Gatabari Prabhu Teho Abhisheka Koila Tara Abhisheke Prabhu Mahatripta Hoila. It was Krishnadas who filled a great water pot and poured it over the Lord while he was taking his bath. The Lord was greatly satisfied by this. Balagandi Bogarabahu Prashadaila Sabha Sange Mahaprabhu Prashada Koila. The remnants of food offered to the Lord at Balagandi then arrived in great quantity, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his devotees ate it. Balagandi is a place where they stop to offer food during the Ratha Yatra. Purvavat Ratha Jatra, Koila Darshan, Herapanchami Jatra, Deke Loya Bhaktagan. As in the previous year, the Lord with all the devotees saw the Ratha Yatra festival and the Herapanchami festival as well. Acharya Gosai Prabhu Koila Nimantran, Taramadye Koila Jache, Jada Varishan. Advaitacharya then extended an invitation to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there was a great rainstorm connected with that incident. Vistari Varni Jachin, Dasha Vrindaban, Shrivas, Prabhure, Tabe, Koilani Mantran. All these episodes have been elaborately described by Srila Vrindaban Das Thakur. Then one day, Srivas Thakur extended an invitation to the Lord. The Chaitanya Bhagavat gives the following description. One day, Srila Advaitacharya, having extended an invitation to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, thought that if the Lord came alone, he would feed him to his great satisfaction. It then so happened that when the other sannyasis were going to Advaitacharya's to take lunch, there was a great rainstorm and they could not reach his house. Thus, according to Advaitacharya's desires, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came alone and accepted the prasadam. So that's what Advaitacharya wanted. He wanted to attend to Mahaprabhu without any other people. He wanted to just receive Mahaprabhu. So, according to his desire, a great rainstorm came and the other devotees couldn't go to Advaitacharya's house, just Mahaprabhu. So he could feed Mahaprabhu to his satisfaction. Prabhur Priya Vyanjan Sabha Radhena Malani Bhakti Dasi Abhiman Snehete Janani. The Lord's favorite vegetables were cooked by Malini, the wife of Srivas Thakur. She devotedly considered herself a maidservant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but in affection she was just like a mother. So she treated Mahaprabhu like his servant, but her mood of affection was to be very maternal towards Mahaprabhu. Acharya Ratna Adijata Mukhya Bhaktagan Madhye Madhye Prabhure Korani Mantran. All the chief devotees head by Chandrasekhar or Acharya Ratna would extend invitations to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu periodically. Chaturmasya ante puna nityanande loya kiba jukte koren nitya nibrate basya. At the end of the 4-month Chaturmasya period, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again consulted with Nityananda Prabhu daily in a solitary place. No one could understand what their conclusion was about. Or no one could understand what their consultation was about. Acharya Gosai Prabhu ke kohi taratore Acharya tarja pare keho bujite na pare. Then Srila Advaitacharya said something to Mahaprabhu through gestures and read some poetic passages which no one understood. So this Advaitacharya wrote a poem for Mahaprabhu in code, in a form of poetry. And that poem more or less said that, tell our Lord that who dances or sings like a madman, that the whole world, everyone has also become maddened, and that the rice which was available in the marketplace no longer is being sold, no longer sells well, because everyone already has enough. They don't need to buy anymore. It was more or less to say to Mahaprabhu, you have come to give the Yuga Dharma to everyone of the chanting of the holy name and relationship with the Lord all the way to Madhurya Ras. But that's already been accomplished. It's already been accomplished. People don't need that anymore. So you can tend to your own affairs, more or less was saying. Because there are external and internal reasons why the Lord descends to this world. So the external reason is to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Kirtan, and give love of Godhead to everyone. So that's already been accomplished. And then Dvaitacharya says, now you can tend to your own affairs. And then Swarup Damodar knew what that was all about, but Swarup Damodar said, well, what do you think this means? And then Mahaprabhu said, well, there's a class of people who invite the deity to come. And then after worshipping the deity for some time, they have what is called Visarjana, where they take the deity and submerge the deity in a lake or river and dissolve the deity, and that's the end of the puja. That's what they do basically with Kali Puja and Durga Puja. So then Advaitacharya said, I don't know if Mahaprabhu said about Advaitacharya, he said, I don't know if Advaitacharya is like that, who invites the deity to come for some time and then says, now our purposes have been served, now you can go home. So Mahaprabhu said, I don't know if Advaitacharya is that kind of a person to do that, but this is more done with Shaktas, those who worship Shakti, those who worship Kali and Durga. But they do take the deity for what they call Visarjana Puja and take the deity to the pond or to the river. The deity has been made out of painted clay or mud, and then they just leave the deity dissolve in the river. So Mahaprabhu said, I don't know if Advaitacharya is like that. So Taramukha Deki Hase Sachira Nandan Angikara Janiyacharya Korana Nartan. So after that poem, Advaita Mahaprabhu.
The poem is mentioned there?
Yeah, it says, then Srila Advaitacharya said something to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through gestures and read some poetic passages, which no one understood.
But it is mentioned there, the poem?
No, that's later. But I'm just saying because okay. Seeing the face of Advaitacharya, Mahaprabhu smiled. Understanding that the Lord had accepted the proposal, Advaitacharya started to dance. So then Mahaprabhu just began dancing madly and became absorbed in three aspects which are mentioned in the beginning of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that those aspects are to know the glory of Srimati Radharani's love, to know the happiness in himself, to know the happiness that Srimati Radharani feels in perceiving the sweetness of Krishna. And three is, let's see.
Three is the sweetness. Three is the sweetness of Krishna, which only Radharani can extract.
Well, that's, yeah, and to know...
And the other one is the happiness of that Radharani feels and her devotion.
Yeah, and the other one is to know the glory of her love. So there are three internal reasons. And Mahaprabhu then dedicated himself to those. And that's done in the form of going ecstatic, wild kirtans and everything, like with Ramananda Ray and Swarup Damodar. He becomes very much absorbed in hearing the poetry of Chandidas and Jayadev Goswami and like that. But these are considered the internal reasons for Mahaprabhu's descent, and they became... Perhaps I'm skipping ahead too much. Kiba prartana kiba agya kehona bujila alingana kori prabhu tare vidai dila. No one knew what Advaitacharya requested or what the Lord ordered. After embracing the Acharya, Mahaprabhu bade him farewell. Nityanande kohe prabhu sunaha Sripad e ami magi tumi koraha prashad. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then told Nityananda Prabhu, please hear me, O holy man. I now request something of you. Kindly grant my request. Prativarsha Nilachala tumina ashiba gode rahi mora icha safala koriba. Do not come to Jagannath Puri every year, but stay in Bengal and fulfill my desire. So Mahaprabhu is feeling this. If somebody has to take charge of Bengal and give them love of Godhead. So. And then there's some other reasons. Tahan siddhi kore ke keno anyena dekiye amara dushkara karma Toma hoite hoye. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, you can perform a task that even I cannot do, but for you, I cannot find anyone in Gadadhar who can fulfill my mission there. So you stay and preach in Bengal. Nityananda kohe ami deho tumi pran deho prana bina nahi eta praman. Nityananda Prabhu replied, O Lord, you are the life, and I am the body. There is no difference between the body and life itself, but life is more important than the body. Or what they can also say is, what is more important, breathing or the nose? If you don't have a nose, you can still breathe, but when you can't breathe, it's finished. Everything's finished. So, Nityananda Prabhu replied, O Lord, you are the life and I am the body. There is no difference between the body and life itself, but life is more important than the body. Achintya shakti kora tumi tahara gatan je koraha se kore nahika niyam. By your inconceivable energy, you can do whatever you like. Whatever you make me do, I do without restriction. Tare vidai dila prabhu korea lingan emata vidai dila sabhaktagan. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Nityananda Prabhu and bade him farewell. He then bade farewell to all the other devotees. Kalina Grami Purvavat Koila Nivedan Prabhu Agya Koro Amar Kartavya Saran. As in the previous year, one of the inhabitants of Kalinagram submitted a petition to the Lord saying, My Lord, kindly tell me what my duty is and how I shall execute it. Prabhu Kohe Vaishnav Sevan Nama Sankirtan Dui Kora Shigrapade Sri Krishna Charan. The Lord replied, you should always engage yourself in the service of the service of the servants of Krishna, and always chant the holy name of Krishna. If you do these two things, you will very soon attain shelter at Krishna's feet. So he asked him to do Vaishnava Seva, serve the devotees, and do also Nama Sankirtan, chant the holy names. So chant the holy names and serve the Vaishnavas. That's Mahaprabhu's request. And when the servant of Kolinagram asked him, Krishnanam Nirantara Jahara Badane Se Vaishnava Shrestha Bhaja Tahar Chanane. A person who is always chanting the holy name of the Lord is to be considered a first-class Vaishnava, and your duty is to serve his lotus feet. Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur says that any Vaishnava who is constantly chanting the holy name of the Lord should be considered to have attained this second platform of Vaishnavism. Such a devotee is superior to a neophyte Vaishnava who has just learned to chant the holy name of the Lord. A neophyte devotee simply tries to chant the holy name, whereas the advanced devotee is accustomed to chanting and takes pleasure in it. Such an advanced devotee is called a Madhyam Bhagavat, which indicates that he has attained the intermediate stage between the neophyte and the perfect devotee. Generally, a devotee in the intermediate stage becomes a preacher. A neophyte devotee or an ordinary person should worship the Madhyam Bhagavat, who is a via media. So previously, Mahaprabhu, when the person from Kuliagram had asked him, what duty should I perform? Mahaprabhu told him, chant the holy name and serve the Vaishnavas. And then he asked, well, who's a Vaishnava? So Mahaprabhu said, a Vaishnava is anyone who has chanted the holy name one time, has chanted the holy name. So that's, of course, that would be considered the beginning, that who is a Vaishnava. Then the next year, they ask again, what is my duty in life? And Mahaprabhu says, serve the Vaishnavas and chant the holy name. And then they again ask, well, how do I know who's a Vaishnava? And Mahaprabhu says, a person who is always chanting the holy name of the Lord is to be considered a first-class Vaishnava, and your duty is to serve his lotus feet. In his Upadeshamrita, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Pranatibis cha vajantamisham. This means that Madhyamadakari devotees should exchange obeisances between themselves. So Madhyamadakari, he is a person who worships the Lord, makes friends with the devotees, preaches to the innocent, and avoids the association of demons or persons who are against devotional service or who are inimical to the Lord, who praise, who criticize the devotees in the Lord. That Mahaprabhu, the Madhyamadakari, he serves like this. He worships the Lord, makes friends with the devotees, preaches to the innocent, and avoids the association of persons who are against devotional service. That's called Madhyamadakari, an intermediate devotee. So now this year, Mahaprabhu is saying, when the person from Kolinagram says, who's a devotee? You say I should serve a Vaishnava. Who's a Vaishnava? Then Mahaprabhu says like this, serve the Madhyamadakaris. The year before he said, serve the Vaishnavas. Who's a Vaishnava? Anyone who's chanted the holy name one time, he's a Vaishnava. But now Mahaprabhu, when they asked him, who's a Vaishnava, he says, someone who's in the Madhyamadakari, who's always chanting the holy name. Not chanting one time, but always chanting the holy name. In his Upadeshamrita, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Pranatibis cha vajantamisham. This means that Madhyamadakari devotees should exchange obeisances between themselves. The word nirantara, meaning without cessation, continuously, constantly, is very important in this verse. The word antara means interval. No. The word nirantara, meaning without cessation, continuously, constantly, is very important in this verse. The word antara means interval. If one has desires other than a desire to perform devotional service, in other words, if one sometimes engages in devotional service and sometimes strives for sense gratification, his service will be interrupted. A pure devotee, therefore, should have no desire other than to serve Krishna. He should be above fruitive activity and speculative knowledge. In his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami says, Anyabilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukuyena Krishna nushilanam bhaktir uttama. This is the platform of pure devotional service. One should not be motivated by fruitive activity or mental speculation, but should simply serve Krishna favorably. That is first class devotion. Another meaning of antara is this body. The body is an impediment to self-realization because it is always engaged in sense gratification. Similarly, antara means money. If money is not used in Krishna's service, it is also an impediment. Antara also means janata, people in general. The association of ordinary persons may destroy the principles of devotional service. Similarly, antara may mean greed to acquire more money or enjoy more sense gratification. Finally, the word antara may also mean athletic. Finally, the word antara may also mean atheistic ideas, not athletic ideas. Finally, the word antara may also mean atheistic ideas, by which one considers the temple deity to be made of stone, wood, or gold. All of these are impediments. The deity in the temple is not material. He is the Supreme Personality of God in himself. Similarly, considering the spiritual master an ordinary human being, Gurushu Naramati, is also an impediment. Nor should one consider a Vaishnava a member of a particular caste or nation. Nor should a Vaishnava be considered material. Charitamrita should not be considered ordinary drinking water, and the holy name of the Lord should not be considered an ordinary sound vibration. Nor should one look on Lord Krishna as an ordinary human being, for he is the origin of all. For he is the origin of all Vishnu Tattvas. Nor should one regard the Supreme Lord as a demigod. Intermingling the spiritual with the material causes one to look on transcendence as material, and the mundane as spiritual. This is all due to a poor fund of knowledge. One should not consider Lord Vishnu and things related to him as being different. All this is offensive. Okay. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in the Bhakti Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami writes, Namaikam yasya havachi smarana patagatam itiyado deho dravinadi nimitaka pashanda shabdena chadasha aparad lakshante pashanda mayatvat pashanda. No, I said that wrong. Pashanda shabdena chadasha para lakshante pashanda mayadvat tesham. In the verse beginning Namaikam Yasha, we find the word pashanda, godlessness. The word literally indicates misuse of one's body or property. But in that verse, it implies the 10 offenses against the Lord's holy name, since each of these leads to such godless behavior. Mayavadis look on Vishnu and Vaishnavas imperfectly due to their poor fund of knowledge. And this is condemned in Srimad Bhagavatam. The intermediate Vaishnavas described as follows: Ishvaretad adhineshu baleshu dvishat sucha prema maitri kripo piksha yakur yakaroti cha madhyama. So all this is describing to us the Madhyamadikari, the intermediate devotee. And here it says, the intermediate Vaishnavas has to love God, make friend with the devotees, instruct the innocent, and reject jealous people. These are the 4 functions of the Vaishnava in the intermediate stage. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Sanatan Goswami is taught. So you have to be in the intermediate stage, or you can descend to the intermediate stage from a higher stage, but the Madhyamadikari sees the necessity of preaching. He makes friends with the devotees. He worships the Lord, makes friends with the devotees, preaches to the innocent, and avoids the association of persons who are offensive against the Lord and his devotees. That's basically the Madhyamadikari. These are the 4 functions of the Vaishnava in the intermediate stage. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Sanatan Goswami is taught, Shraddhavan jana hoy bhakti adhikari uttamam madhyam kanishta shraddha anusari. One who is faithful to a proper candidate for devotional service. One who is faithful is a proper candidate for devotional service. In terms of one's degree of faith in devotional service, one is a first class, second class, or neophyte Vaishnava. Shastra Jukti Nahi Jane Drida Shraddhavan Madhyamadikari Se Mahabhagyavan. One who has attained the intermediate stage of the Madhyamadikari is not very advanced in Shastric knowledge, but he has firm faith in the Lord. Such a person is very fortunate to be situated on the intermediate platform. Rati prema tarat maye bhakta tarotam. Attraction and love for Godhead, attraction and love for God are the ultimate goal of devotional service. The degrees of such attraction and love distinguish the different stages of devotion: neophyte, intermediate, and perfectional. An intermediate devotee is greatly attracted to chanting the holy name, and by chanting, he is elevated to the platform of love. If one chants the holy name of the Lord with great attachment, he can understand his position as an eternal servant of the spiritual master, other Vaishnavas, and Krishna himself. Thus, the intermediate Vaishnava considers himself Krishnadas, Krishna's servant. He therefore preaches Krishna consciousness to innocent neophytes and stresses the importance of chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. An intermediate devotee can identify the non-devotee or motivated devotee. The motivated devotee or the motivated devotee or the non-devotee are on the platform of material perfection, and they are called prakrita. The intermediate devotee does not mix with such materialistic people. However, he understands that the Supreme Personality of Godhead and everything related to him are on the same transcendental platform. Actually, none of them are mundane. So these are long purports. Sometimes they're a little bit hard to follow, but this is basically describing the level of being attached to a Madhyamadikari preaching devotee and what are his qualities. Varshantere punatara aiche prashna koila Vaishnavera taratmya prabhu shikaila The following year, the inhabitants of Kulinagram again asked the Lord the same question. Hearing this question, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again taught them about the different stages of Vaishnavism. So he's different stages. Hearing this question, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again taught them about the different types of Vaishnavas. So Mahaprabhu is using this question. They're saying, what should we do? What's our duty? Mahaprabhu says, chant the holy name and serve the devotees. And then they say, well, who's the devotee? So first Mahaprabhu describes the Kanishta Adhikari. Previously he said, anybody who chants the holy name one time, should be considered a devotee, and you can associate with that person. Then again asked, what should I do in life? You chant the holy name and serve the devotee. All right, who's the devotee? Then Mahaprabhu described the intermediate devotee, the second class devotee. He said, anyone who is always chanting the holy name and is on the level of a Madhya-lila, makes friends with the devotees, serves the Lord, makes friends with the devotees, preaches to the innocent, and avoids the association of demons or persons inimical to the service of the Lord. That's a Madhya-lila. That's a second-class devotee. So now we'll see, again, Mahaprabhu, when they asked, what's the duty of a Vaishnava? This is like now third year, and Mahaprabhu says, you should chant the holy name and serve the Vaishnavas. So again they asked, well, who's a Vaishnava? So now he'll describe the Uttamadhikari, the highest devotee. Jahara darshane mukhe aishe krishnanam tahare janiyatumi Vaishnava pradhan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said a first-class Vaishnava is he whose very presence makes others chant the holy name of Krishna. Now the highest devotee, they said, first Mahaprabhu said, anyone who chants the holy name at least one time is a devotee. Okay, that's the Prakrita Bhakta, the lowest class devotee. He's chanted the holy name, has some interest. What's the next? Again, the question, what should they do? Chant the holy name and serve the Vaishnavas. Well, who's a Vaishnava? Then Mahaprabhu described intermediate devotee, Madhya-lila. And the important thing about that is he's actively serving the Lord and the devotees, the Madhya-lila. But then the next year the devotees again asked, well, who should we serve? And then Mahaprabhu says, a first-class Vaishnava is he whose very presence makes others chant the holy name of Krishna. Someone whose very presence makes you want to chant the holy name. You serve that kind of Vaishnava. Kramakore kohe Prabhu Vaishnava Lakan Vaishnava Vaishnavatar Ara Vaishnavatam. In this way, Mahaprabhu taught the distinctions between different types of Vaishnavas. The Vaishnava, Vaishnavatar, who's more advanced intermediate, and the Vaishnavatam, the most advanced devotee. He thus successively explained the symptoms of a Vaishnava to the inhabitants of Kulinagram. And you can also get some information like this from the Upadeshamrita. It describes what is your attitude of serving and who you can serve. It's very good. Rupa Goswami's book, Nectar of Instruction. Emata sab Vaishnava Gode Chalila Vidyanidhi Sevatsara Niladri Rohila. Finally, the Vaishnavas returned to Bengal, but that year Pundarik Vidyanidhi remained at Jagannath Puri. So, Swarup Sahita Tara Hoy Sakya Priti Dui Janai Krishna Katai Ekatrai Stiti. Swarup Damodar and Pundarik Vidyanidhi had a friendly, intimate relationship. And as far as discussing topics about Krishna, they were situated on the same platform. So this is, finally all the Vaishnava returned to Bengal, but that year Pundarik Vidyanidhi remained at Jagannath Puri. So who's Pundarik Vidyanidhi? That's what. Then it says, Swarup Sahitik Tarak Hoy Sakya Priti Dui Janai Krishna Katai Ekantra Istiti. Swarup Damodar and Pundarik Vidyanidhi had a friendly, intimate relationship, and as far as discussing topics about Krishna, they were situated on the same platform. This is Swarup Damodar. He's one of the most advanced of all the devotees, and it says, Pundarik Vidyanidhi has come to Jagannath Puri to visit, and he knows Swarup Damodar, and that Swarup Damodar and Pundarik Vidyanidhi are very close, and they're more or less on the same level of devotional service. So that means Pundarik Vidyanidhi is a very advanced devotee, because we know that about Swarup Damodar. Gadadhar Pandit Teho Puna Madhya-lila Odanash Shastira Dine Jatrana Jatra Jedakila. Pundarik Vidyanidhi initiated Gadadhar Pandit for the second time, and on the day of Odana Shashti, Pundarik Vidyanidhi saw the festival. So Pundarik he initiated Gadadhar Pandit. Gadadhar Pandit is one of the Panchatattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta. And he's giving instructions to the Vaishnavas. So, Jagannath Parantata Madhuya Bachan Dekiya Sagrina Hoila Vidyanidirman. When Pundarik Vidyanidhi saw that Lord Jagannath was given a starched garment, he became a little hateful. In this way, his mind was polluted. So, this occurs at the time of Odan Shastri. Odana Shastri means the beginning of winter. And then they put special clothes on the deities to keep them warm, like Lord Jagannath and Baladev Subhadra. They put on chatters, wool chatters on the deity. But when they're making new cloth on a loom, they put starch in the threads so that they will be more firm on the loom, so then they can go like this with the making cloth. But in order to make the cloth well, they starch the threads so that they will stay in place. But it is said, after you get the clothes, you should wash the starch out of them before you use those clothes. And especially for the deities, you probably have seen that. Almost anything you buy from India, new dhotis or anything, they all come, and if you wash them one time, then they dry and they become very stiff, like cardboard. So you have to wash them in very hot water several times to get all the starch out of the cloth so that it'll begin to bend a little. And there's an injunction, you should not put cloth that's still full of starch on the deity. But Pundarik went to the temple of Jagannath, and it was time for Jagannath to be dressed in warmer clothes for the winter. But Pundarik Vidyanidhi saw that they were using cloth that had not been cleaned properly. It's not dirty, but it's still very stiff. It's still very stiff. When Pundarik Vidyanidhi, Jagannath Parantata Madhuya Basan Dekiya Sagrina Hoila Vidyanidirman. When Pundarik Vidyanidhi saw that Lord Jagannath was given a starched garment, he became a little hateful. In this way, his mind was polluted. He became very angry when he saw that the pujari, why is he putting this starched cloth on Lord Jagannath? He should wash it first. And Se Ratre Jagannath Bolai Asiya Duibai Chadana Tare Hasya Hasya. That night, the brothers Lord Jagannath and Balaram came to Pundarik Vidyanidhi and smiling began to slap him. Gala Pulila Acharya Antare Ulas Vistare Varnijachin Vrindavanadas. Although his cheeks were swollen from the slapping, Pundarik Vidyanidhi was very happy within. This incident has been elaborately described by Thakur Vrindavandas. So that Jagannath and Baladev came when Pundarik Vidyanidhi felt very angry because they're putting starch cloth on him. Then Jagannath and Baladev that night came to see him and said, "Oh, what's your complaint? You don't like our pujaris? Something wrong with our pujaris that you don't like them? Slap! You know, who do you think you are to criticize our servants? Slap! We're okay with these starch garments. We don't need you to become involved in our affairs. Slap!" And they're slapping him, Baladev and Jagannath, and his cheeks become swollen. Although his cheeks were swollen from the slapping, Pundarik Vidyanidhi was very happy with it. This incident has been elaborately described by Thakur Vrindavandas. And who was at one time, I think it's, do you remember Ramanuja? I think Ramanujacharya. He wanted he saw that the pujaris in Jagannath Puri, they're not following any strict rules and regulations. So I'm going to write down rules and regulations for them to follow. And that night, Lord Jagannath threw his bed like 100 kilometers outside of Jagannath Puri, threw his bed far away. And when he was going to submit rules for in other words, Jagannath was saying, we don't need your rules. We don't need your rules. We don't need somebody reforming what kind of cloth the pujaris can offer, what rules we should follow. So they threw his bed far away, and he woke up in another place the next morning and thought, oh, well, that's an answer to my questions. Although, okay, so Emata Pratyabdai Se Godara Bhaktagan Prabhu Sange Rahikore Jatra Darshan. Every year the devotees of Bengal would come and stay with Mahaprabhu to see the Ratha Yatra festival. Taramadye Cheche Varshe Achaye Vishesh Vistariya Agetaha Kohiva Nishesh. Whatever happened during those years that is worth noting shall be described later. Emata Mahaprabhu Chari Vatsara Gela Dakina Jana Ashite Dui Vatsara Lagila. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed 4 years. He spent the first 2 years on his tour in South India. So after Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he went for 2 years to South India. Okay? Jagannath Puri, then South India. Ara Dui Vatsara Chahe Vrindavana Jaite Ramananda Hate Prabhu Napare Jalite. The other 2 years, Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindaban, but he could not leave Jagannath Puri because of Ramananda Roy's tricks. So Ramananda Roy is always tricking Mahaprabhu. He doesn't want, he and the king and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya don't want Mahaprabhu to leave and go to Vrindavan for another couple of years. So then they say things like, oh, all the devotees of Bengal arriving for, the Ratha Yatra. It's better you wait a little while till Kartik, which is now, and then you can go to Vrindavan. Then when Kartik would arrive, they'd say, oh, but now is not a good time to go. It's too cold to go to Vrindavan. So you wait for Dol Yatra. And Dol Yatra is Mahaprabhu's appearance time, but it's also, the word Dol Yatra means holy, when they're throwing color and everything like that. He said, wait till Dol Yatra. But then when Dol Yatra, again, they make more excuses. So for 2 years, they're not giving permission to Mahaprabhu to go to Vrindaban because they don't want to be separated from him. But Mahaprabhu could not go to Vrindaban. He wanted to go to Vrindaban, but he could not leave Jagannath Puri because of Ramananda Roy's tricks. No, go next 2 months. No, it's not a good time. So 2 years passed like that. Panchama Vatsare Godera Bhaktagana Aila Rata Deki Nara Hila Godere Chalila. During the 5th year, the devotees from Bengal came to see the Ratha Yatra festival. After seeing it, they did not stay but returned to Bengal. So that year they didn't stay very much time. Tabe Prabhu, Sarvabhauma, Ramananda Stane, Alingana Kore Kohe, Madhura Vachane. Then Mahaprabhu placed a proposal before Sarvabhauma, Bhattacharya, and Ramananda Ray. He embraced them and spoke sweet words. Bahut Utkanta Mura Jaite Vrindavan, Tomara Hate Dui Vatsara, Nakoilun Gaman. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my desire to go to Vrindaban has very much increased. Because of your tricks, I've not been able to go there for the past 2 years. Avashya chaliba duhe koraha samati tomaduha bina mora nahi anyagati. This time I must go. Will you please give me permission? Save for you two, I have no other resort. So Mahaprabhu knew they were playing tricks on him, but he didn't want to go against the desire of the devotees. So he said, 2 years now, you've made so many tricks and I couldn't go. Now could you please stop making all these tricks and let me go to Vrindaban? Go to Deshe, Hoy Mora Dui Samashroy, Janani Janavi E Dui Doyamoy. In Bengal I have 2 shelters. My mother, Janani, and the Rio Ganges and the river Ganges. In Bengal, I have 2 shelters. My mother, Janani, and the river Ganges, Janavi. Janavi is a Ganges, and Janani is my mother. Both of them are very merciful. So Mahaprabhu wanted to, said, I want to visit Vrindaban, and I want to go to the Ganga, and I want to visit Vrindaban, but I'll go through Bengal because I want to see my mother, and I also want to go to the river Ganges. So, go to Desha Diya Jab Ta Saba Dekiya Tumide Duhe Agyadeho Parasana Hoya. I shall go to Vrindavan through Bengal and see both my mother and the river Ganges. Now would you two be pleased to give me permission? Shunya Prabhu Ravani Mane Vicharoy Prabhu Shani Atihata Kabu Balo Shunya Prabhu Ravani Mane Vicharoy Prabhu Shani Atihata Kabu Balo Noi. When Sarvabhauma, Bhattacharya, and Ramananda Ray heard these words, they began to consider that it was not at all good that they had played so many tricks on the Lord. Duhe Kohe. Did you get good rest?
Yeah,
okay, good. After driving so far, now you've got good rest. That's good. Duhe Kohe Ebe Varsha Chalite Nariva Vijay Dashamihaila Avasha Chaliva. They both said, now that the rainy season is here, it will be difficult for you to travel. It is better to wait for Vijay Dashami before departing for Vrindavan. So this time they're not playing tricks, they're just saying, well, it's Chaturmasya, it's a rainy season. So wait for the rains to stop, then you can travel. And when will the rain stop? Vijay Dashami. That was a little while ago when Lord Ramachandra returns to Ayodhya. No, that's not Vijay Dashami. Vijay Dashami is when Sri Lanka or Ceylon with Ravana is defeated. That's Vijay Dashami. That's before now. That's before about a month ago. So they say, Wait for Vijay Dashami, then you can go. Okay. Anande Mahaprabhu Varsha Koila Samadan, Vijay Dashami, Dine Korila Payan. Mahaprabhu was very pleased to thus receive their permission. He waited until the rainy season passed, and when the day of Vijay Dashami arrived, he departed for Vrindaban. So tomorrow I'll continue with this. This chapter is entitled The Lord's Attempt to Go to Vrindaban. So now Mahaprabhu will actually leave for Vrindaban, and we'll hear about that. Shruti, how are you?
Pretty good, Maharaj.
Is Gaurachandra here?
Yes.
Okay. Did you sing all the Kartik songs? Okay. Did you sing Krishna Bandhana?
Sí, las dos canciones.
Okay. Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Jadavaya Namah Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah Gopa Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Maranama Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gora Bhaktivedanta Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhattacharya Sri Jiva Gopala Bhattacharya Jai Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan Jai Vijnana Sabhishta Puran Jai Gosai Jarmui Tarandan Sabar Pada Renu Mora Panchagram Radha Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas Janame More Abhilas Jai Gosai Jabe Bhaje Koilabas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindaban Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman Sankirtana Gohe Naratamuna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Saparikara Shri Shri Guru Varanga Gandharvika Giridhari Jo Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parabhajakacharya Ashtatara Tara Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Kosham Ashram Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Tilak Nirya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivedanta Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupa Nuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Ragana Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dash Ragana Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Shri Gaura Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai. Vishvaparenya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupad Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Nartam Srinivashamananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Shyam Kuna Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai. Shri Purushottam Ki Jai. Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Jo Ki Jai. Bhakti Vigna Vinashaya Shri Nishingadev Ki Jai. Bhakta Prabhara Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parabhajakacharya Ashtatara Sada Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Kosham Ashram Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Ashram Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Ashram Maharaj Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa His Divine Grace Ananta Sri Vibhushita Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srila Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Jai.